This is IGN.
We're back. This is your IGN review of Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater by Michael Higham. Where do you draw the line with a remake? How do you balance creative freedom and remaining true to the original? Everyone's answer is somewhat different, but for Konami, staying faithful was the top priority with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the remake of the 2004 stealth action game that was led by Hideo Kojima. In not being shy about crediting Kojima and his team throughout, Konami preserved Snake Eater in a way that's nearly one-to-one, other than a massive visual overhaul. So while it has definitely aged in the 21 years since, there's a certain novelty to its old-school stealth action gameplay and spy thriller story that still hits, especially with the way Snake Eater wraps up. How can you not be romantic about Metal Gear Solid all over again? If you've played Snake Eater, almost everything will be familiar to you. It's the same captivating story, delivered with the same mix of melodrama and absurdity to the backdrop of its Cold War-era historical fiction. Its penchant for long cutscenes steeped in political theater is intact, alongside over-the-top characters and cinematic stylings with a tinge of classic espionage drama. You can put it side by side with the original, and they'll sync up just fine. The iconic, gravelly voice of David Hayter as Snake lands with a warming familiarity. Only he can get away with asking questions that are just him repeating the last thing that was said over the codec. Item boxes are all in the same spots, and they still pop out of guards when you hold them up at gunpoint or drop their bodies. Despite the upgrade in tech that makes everything look current-gen, the layout of each area is untouched. They remain broken up into their distinct sections separated by brief loading screens. That's all to say, Delta is Snake Eater as you remember it. Perhaps the thing we enjoyed most about this remake was that the old-school stealth action is oddly refreshing. At a time when series like Splinter Cell, Thief, and, well, Metal Gear Solid are largely absent in the modern gaming world, playing through Snake Eater tapped into that part of my brain again. Each section feels like a puzzle to be solved, where guards and terrain are your obstacles, and your limited gear leaves room for creativity. I was reminded about how reactivity is a defining feature of the Metal Gear series. Whether I'm dropping dirty magazines to distract guards or popping out of a cardboard box for a close-quarters takedown, that mix of deliberate decisions and adapting when plans don't exactly work out remains satisfying. The thrill of evading an alert phase while hiding within inches of patrolling guards matches the high of pulling off a perfect no-kill stealth run, and toying with the guards once you understand their behavior can be as fun as going in guns blazing. I still hold MGS-V, The Phantom Pain, in high regard for its emergent gameplay, but Snake Eater's more contained scope makes for a throwback that represents what made Metal Gear Solid so much fun to begin with. Boss fights are another area where Konami might have played it a little too safe by not sprucing them up in some way, so they're still hit or miss depending on what you're asked to do. There are dull ones like The Pain or The Fear, where you're just waiting for a window to pop your shots. On the other hand, you have classics like The End's cat-and-mouse shootout and The Sorrow's novel meta layer that remind me that Snake Eater was thinking outside the box and doing things that only Metal Gear was at the time. And if you remember any of the old tricks and secrets from the original versions, just know that they all still work in Delta. The storytelling didn't really need changes because, to me, this one's timeless. I'm a sucker for Kojima and company's embellished political drama, and with the backdrop of the nuclear arms race of the Cold War, inserting their flavor of government conspiracy is captivating to indulge in. For all its stone-faced goofiness, Snake Eater has a story that hit in a way I didn't expect when I was younger, and after all these years, I felt a new wave of emotions revisiting it as an adult. That's due in large part to the enigmatic relationship between Snake and the boss. It's conveyed with a certain earnestness, leading to revelations that brought things full circle for Snake Eater and Metal Gear Solid as a whole at the time it came out. So, for all its adherence to the original, I wondered, did we need this remake? Is there a way Delta could have been a much higher elevation of the original Snake Eater? Yeah, I'm sure, and we have faithful remakes like Resident Evil 4 and Silent Hill 2 to look at, for example. That's not what Konami set out to do, though, so I'm left to acknowledge the ways it doesn't quite hold up today and appreciate the things that make it timeless. Delta didn't necessarily elevate my love for Snake Eater, but it did remind me of why I've held it in high regard all this time. Snake Eater's IGN score, 8 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Sarah McAfee, and for the latest Metal Gear Solid updates, visit us at IGN.com.
SpokenLayer.